after all of that, we're actually finally ready to get into it. That's good. That's good. Let's just make sure things are gonna go well. Go back to General War 3 casting. Hit a thing or two. Get everything going. And then I'm gonna take a drink of water. Oh, that water is good. Apparently, there's one potential problem here. Let's make sure. Normally that's the case. So if I go to Alright, cool. Alright. That took way too long, frankly. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I like this. We're good. We're good shape, guys. We're doing fine. Let's go ahead. I think we're good. We're gonna go ahead and start this? Yeah, okay, we're good. Oh, no, we're not. What I was gonna do was... Alright, I believe SuperBT is the human. And wAm is the orc? That seems unlikely. Well, we're just gonna go with that. We're just gonna go with that. Hello and welcome to another Warcraft V audio commentary. Today, guys, we're actually casting this live on Twitch because, well, we were already casting on Twitch for FML, FFA League, or FFA Masters League. We're with Mage and watching some great FFA games. Oh, shit. Hold on. That had to happen. Okay, that's fine. We'll just redo it. We'll just redo that real quick. We're only a couple seconds in. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, guys. Don't worry about it. All right. All right. Okay, this time we're gonna do it right. All right, here we go. Hello and welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. Today, guys, we're gonna go ahead and watch a game between SuperBT, spawning in as the red human in the lower left part of Bright and Dark, versus wAm, spawning in as the blue orc in the upper right part of the map. I'm not 100% certain that I've got the order of the players right. I think that's how it is. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I don't know. But I think I'm right about that, and I could be wrong. So there you go. We are casting these live today on twitch.tv/curebe because we were casting with Mage, the FML FFA Masters qualifiers round 5, I believe. A couple of players didn't show up. Yaz couldn't play, so that was a little unfortunate. But we did have some sub players play, and it was still a pretty good game. And then there was a second game that we kind of cast for fun that was a little bit lower quality. It was just one of the playffa.net ladder games, which if you like playing FFA, you should check out. So that's why we're doing this on Twitch, and naturally this will be aired as well on youtube.com/SuperBT, so feel free to check all of that out. Make sure you're followed and subscribed and all that good stuff to everything so that you can actually you know, catch all the new videos. Anyway, so let's go ahead and say that I'm pretty sure wAm is making a Farseer, as it looks like. Farseer, very interesting choice here, and an Archmage going to be coming in for... His name is Archmage in game, but I believe he's actually SuperBT, unless I'm mistaken, and that's the last time I'm going to mention it. I'm just going to, from here on out, assume that this is, in fact, SuperBT. We'll find out at some point when someone yells at me if I'm wrong. Now, this is always an interesting creep camp, the mercenary creep camp right here. On this particular map, it's a little bit more powerful than it kind of might look because it's got poison, and poison targets AI kind of guys that'll attack everything. Now, this does make them a little bit abusable. As you can see, you can kind of make them go around long walks, kind of like a maze and like a tower defense game, but because they want to apply the poison to everything to do the maximum DPS, which is pretty much what we see right there. And it's a lot of damage, but it's not a huge deal so long as you mitigate it properly by microing correctly and not letting it just basically kill everything. But it does kind of leave you open to a bit of harass. However, it's not as bad as having one particularly low HP peasant, so it's not all that bad really in the end, as long as you don't mess it up. But one peasant will go down. These are spirit wolves, so they can run in between these little gaps, and so they are very likely to get a couple more kills. The Farseer, very good choice to have in this particular situation, just because you can get lots of early game harass going on. Of course, naturally, those guys can go into militia form and kind of, well, one, they can fight the wolves back off, which you don't really want to let your wolves die like that, and I don't know if that even died. He might have resummoned it. It looks like he potentially resummoned it. You generally do resummon them, because if you resummon them, then the opponent doesn't get any XP, which is pretty good. But you do definitely want to be using these very aggressively. As I think right now we have the total kill count very likely to go up to 5 or 4. I mean, yeah, 4 right there. That's 4 on those peasants, which is pretty good. Unless I've miscounted, it could be 3, but I think it's 4. And the orc player going with that very fast, very aggressive tech and very fast, aggressive harass. Basically, is what we're seeing right here. Just using those spirit wolves, preventing his opponent from creeping anymore. A very natural kind of thing. I don't know why I keep saying natural, but it's a very nice thing to do, and it works really well with the strategy, and it is actually, you know, pretty much the natural way to play this type of very aggressive strategy, because when you're playing an aggressive strategy where you're teching really fast, if you try to creep up, you're going to get out-crept because you don't have a lot of units, and then your opponent's going to come and harass your base after they got a little bit of a creep advantage, and then you're going to be really far behind, your tech's going to get delayed, and it's really just kind of a big problem. But the good player here, he's gone ahead and made sure that his timing worked out pretty well, and he's able to get up a Fire Lord at this point, which he can go ahead and use to summon those little Fire Lord summon spawns, fire spawns, lava spawns, and he can use those pretty nice. The Fires here very likely, very low, but very close to getting surrounded right there. This is a wonderfully scary place to put a hero because it's so easy to get surrounded in there, but if you know what you're doing, should be fine and be able to get out of there. And he just has to make sure that he doesn't lose anything. Does he have backpack upgraded? No, he doesn't, so he can't really bring any kind of what's it called, healing thingies and healing salves into the fight with a grunt, which would have been nice if he could have done that, because he could have healed this Farseer up, as well as a clarity, which would have been also pretty swell. Now he does have to be a little bit careful here about this Archmage just taking some hits, but also here comes that Forestral Shadow Priest to go ahead and get an Abolish Magic onto the second lava spawn right there, which will go ahead and take him down with an additional hit and a little bit of damage coming in from those footmen, which is really fantastic. Now he's got to be careful. Also, look at those creeps. Holy balzalzels. Blood Fiend and Overlord level 6 and level 4, those guys will look like they would do a lot of damage, and they probably would, but you got to be really careful again with your Archmage to not let that guy dip too low on life. Meanwhile, down here we can see that he's trying to reinforce his base with a second tower, which would be pretty good. The Arcane Tower is pretty good against the spawns, the lava spawns and the spirit wolves, because it does extra damage, but if it's attacking a grunt, then it's not particularly useful at that case, but it's still a thing that you can do. However, this farm looks like it might go down, and he's gonna have to be a little bit careful about that. Meanwhile, over here we can see that there's some burrow harass going on, but it's not going to be very productive because there's actually a grunt right here as well, just kind of doing some damage, and with all those peasants or peons repairing the burrow, it looks like it's going to be just fine. He does have that water elemental, however, that is going to kind of be left behind, I guess, to do a little bit of residual damage. Again, it's not really going to be all that scary, and especially with that grunt right there doing some damage, it's just not a big deal. And down here we can see that the Farseer is going to be forced to TP out. It has probably done a fair amount of damage. We didn't quite get to see how much. Looks like 2 peasants have died, and a farm, and a lot of mining time, and that could potentially just be a rock right there. I think it's just a rock. So yeah, it looks like 2 peasants have gone down. A lot of mining time on wood. So let's look at the human's wood economy. It's actually pretty bad right now. He's sitting at 34 food with an arcane vault, a farm, and a arcane sanctum on its way up, and he only has 2 peasants left on wood right now at the moment, so that's going to be kind of abysmal. He's going to have to start rebuilding all those peasants, and I'm just using the mouse keyboard there to re-scroll the camera, sorry. And yeah, and there we go. He's going to be able to easily defend this. He's got a bunch of peons coming out. He's got a healing salve now on the Farseer, of course healing up the Fire Lord as well, and it looks like he wants to go for the tower rush, bringing in these peons, and he does have the war mill up at this point, so he can make towers if he would like to, and he can also go ahead and just do pretty much whatever he wants. Again, this middle position right here between the trees, always really fun, but you just always have to be careful with that. And this is a pretty big push coming in from the orc player. So the red player here, the human, just has to be able to get some kind of defense going up. And he's got a farm over here. It's not particularly useful, but it might be at some point in the game. Probably not. Probably not. If he actually ends up in a situation where that's going to do anything other than scout, then he's in a bit of trouble. And I don't think he'd be able to really get out of that. But again, just keeping the pressure up on the human player at this point. I mean, he's done a lot of pressure to him all game long. And now 4 watchtowers going up in a nice line. Very aggressive right here at the Altar of Kings. And they're also in a really nice position because they can kind of attack the keep. Not all of them, but these 2 right here can definitely, I think this one as well can. So I think the 3 of the 4 can attack the keep. Maybe only 2. But either way, here comes the human player. He knows he needs to do something about these towers. I would assume, yeah, here come the militia from the bottom and the human player from the top. and that is kind of like a sandwich in. Very common move. Works particularly well whenever you're trying to actually like get an objective done, such as kill a watchtower. If you kind of surround everything, it kind of throws off your opponent's micro and their game plan, and it's a lot harder to defend against being attacked on multiple fronts. And that's what we're seeing. One of those watchtowers did go down, but it was canceled, and now it's being rebuilt as another watchtower. And of course, the AoE coming out of the Farseer just is a wonderful thing to do, and has taken out several of those militia, and they're going to be forced back. One tower will go down. However, we do see it was maybe a cancel. I don't quite know. But this tower, these peons, a little too slow at the repair. But however, we do have one watchtower that is up, and that one should definitely not die with repairs. Of course, the Beastmaster is out with the Quill Beasts, and the Quill Beast summons are going to be really fantastic at actually going ahead and adding additional DPS for taking down these towers. So that tower also goes down. However, the Orc just not giving up on this tower push. Is just going to keep on making towers. The Beastmaster has gone down. The Farseer has now been slowed by the Sorceress that's come out, and she's going to go ahead and try to kill the Farseer, and the Farseer also goes down as well. And back here we can see the Forest Troll Berserker from the human player. He's just going to go ahead and keep that. It's very low on HP, but it can do damage, no problem, as long as it's at range and doesn't get focused down. And really, the Grunts can't really do anything about it. He does have to be a little bit careful of the Fire Lord and the Watchtower that just went up, but that's about it. The Fire Lord just going to go straight for it and will take it down in 2 hits. And there you go. So I would say that the human player is doing a pretty good job holding this, but it's kind of messy. It's kind of sloppy. I mean, because the towers are up, the militia are coming back out once again and again. This is really hurting the human's economy, but naturally it's also really hurting the Orc's economy. He can't just do this all game. Beastmaster back out once again with the Quill Beast. He's just going to go ahead and say, I've got what I've got, and he's going to work on taking down another watchtower. If the watchtowers start to stack up, then that's a problem. The Archmage actually died at level 3. I didn't quite see that. But level 3 has now been picked up by the Fire Lord. And let's see. Grunts coming out. Grunts are coming out, yep. Sorry. I'm coughing a little bit. And yeah. So yeah, the keeps are kind of under attack just a little bit here. Altar of Kings, not really a hugely important target. It's not building anything at the moment. The Archmage has been revived. He's going to get picked up level 4 right there from that lava spawn. And level 2 is going to go on to the Beastmaster with the Brilliantor out pretty good. The Farseer comes out. He's going to pick up a Clarity, and he's going to be on his way back down here immediately. You can see there's a shop going up as well as that nice third watchtower. Killing the Altar of Kings is a great thing for this watchtower to do. May as well go ahead and auto-attack that with his Fire Lord. He would ideally like to have this Voodoo Lounge finish as soon as possible so he can start healing up his units. He does need to get that done at some point, as soon as he really realistically can. And we'll see what happens. Here comes the Archmage, or the Farseer, I mean, from the back with another Grunt. And yeah, it looks like this shop's actually going to be able to go up at this point. And there's nothing that the human player can really do to stop it. He doesn't have any units out right now. Just that one Sorceress and some summons with his 2 heroes. Of course, level 4 on the Archmage is nothing to scoff at. But again, level 3 and level 2 on the Farseer put them in a pretty good spot anyway. And we're going to see that farm starting to take some hits. And the Altar of Kings has gone down. Another watchtower going up, a very aggressively positioned one that can hit the gold mine line, which would be really good for him. Gonna see one watchtower going down. I mean, the human player has to deal with these watchtowers. He has to deal with this human, this whole Orc army that's actually being built right here at his base. As you can see, the keep has already taken down about 650 life damage, which is quite a bit. It's quite insane, and you can't let that just keep going on forever. Naturally, though, you could repair through the damage, so if you really felt like doing that, you could, but he can take the fight, so he may as well. However, he is losing quite a few militia for doing this, but here comes more lava spawns coming out once again, and that Sorceress right here doesn't actually have a whole lot of mana, so he's going to have to wait for a little bit before he can cast another slow. That watchtower that was being built super aggressively has been canceled, but it's being rebuilt, and all these canceling watchtowers, it's actually not such a big deal, because what's going on with them is that they're soaking up a lot of damage, and as long as they're soaking up damage, that basically is something that the Orc player really needs right now. And you can see that, because this is a fight that are super close, but also he's got these lava spawns that work really well. They have to attack organic units. It can't be buildings, it can't be anything. In order for them to split, they have to get, I think it's 7 attacks on organic units, and then they split. It might be a little bit higher than that, but I think it's 7. And so it's just one of those things that's really good. As long as you're buying time and you're not taking hits on your army, this is really good. It's a really effective tower push, and the Beastmaster goes down to a chain lightning. Down here, of course, you can see the Archmage is super low. He has to be really careful that this Arcane Sanctum had to be stopped being built because he just could not afford the peasants. He needed them as militia. This one down here is 15 life, so he really can't use that to fight with, and he's just gone ahead and pulled that back onto the Arcane Sanctum, but it's going to take a while before that really does anything useful. Trying to block this Archmage with the water elemental, just to try to keep everything alive here and doing as much damage as possible. But we can see there are only 2 peasants currently on the gold mine for our human player here. He's in a lot of trouble, but he's still kind of holding on. But he's definitely behind. Of course, you can see that the orc player has got 4.6k gold to go through to actually finish this base off. And if he can do that in 4.6k gold, then he's actually pretty much going to win the game. I mean, there's nothing to stop him from, at that point, just basically sitting at the watchtowers and just saying, well, you can't build your mine. But that is pretty unlikely that that's actually going to happen, given that he just lost another watchtower. And he might lose even another one. The orc player just decided to back off. I don't know if he was going to the mercenary camp. He might have been doing that, getting some mercenary camps up, which was always good. But he does have the high-level summons now. That arcane tower is actually quite good against these particular things, the summons and such. Because summons don't really do as much as you would like them to do. Summons are just kind of like, eh. But against an arcane tower, otherwise they're really, really good. And level 4 is now picked up on the Fire Lord, which is pretty fantastic as usual. And I can't tell, I think that he probably has the silence because he's not using the orb effect right here, and the orb effect is quite mana intensive. The silence, on the other hand, is quite good because the silence, not only does it silence the hero that you use it on, it also does a burn dot over time, which is a damage over time, which is quite a nice little ability. It's not a whole lot of damage, but it's pretty reasonable anyway, and you generally won't use it, but if you need it, it's better to have that than really not having that, because you just need the mana for your summons. Your summons are super important in this case. And this is really going super well for the orc player. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that he had kind of got fended back a couple of times, but as it looks, he's clearly managed to put himself into the leading position. He hasn't quite won the game yet, but he is just doing quite well. Of course, the human player has held on really well using his militia down to the last one. It literally was down to 3 peasants at one point, which is just absolutely an insanely low number, and so coming back from that would be really difficult, but he might actually be able to do it if he can actually do something. He's got a lot of casters, and casters are going to work for this. For dealing with this, he's got double Arcane Sanctum, and of course he's rebuilt that Altar of Kings over there. He needs to get the Beastmaster back out at some point if he can. That really provides a lot of damage because it provides double summons for him, and he can actually kind of combat the fact that he's playing against all those summons if he has that. But of course, Raiders are coming out, and they've also got 2 attack upgrades, which is pretty fantastic. It means that they're going to be able to, 1, ensnare to kill units, but 2, also a great TP to try to save those sorceresses. But he really had to do something, and he was able to save one. And at this point, this TP is probably not going to be any more useful. He's getting quite close to level 6, so he's going to have mass teleport at some point anyway, so that was a really good use of TP, although some people might potentially say it was a bit of a waste, but I would definitely disagree. Raiders are a really cool choice in this case, not only because of the fact that they ensnare and they can kind of force these battles, but also because they do a lot of damage to buildings, and that's why they have the double attack upgrade, just because right now he wants to kill buildings as fast as he can. If he can kill out like the keep, for example, then he obviously wins the game. But that's not a particularly easy thing to do. It's got a lot of life, it's got 5 armor, it's fortified, but again, Raiders with 2 attack upgrades, they don't really care that much about that. And over here you can see that we're down to 2.9k left in that gold mine compared to the 4.2k left in the human player's gold mine, so it's definitely a big issue right now that the human player is just having a really rough time with the economy. But again, you know, let's say that the human player holds on until, you know, 2.9k gold gets mined out, then, well, is that a bit of an advantage if that happens? I don't know if it will, and I'm not going to lie, I've been up for quite some time. I didn't sleep last night, so I'm a little tired. Sorry for yawning. I'm actually a little defocused right now. But that's just the way things go sometimes. Anyway, so yeah, this shop has been really fantastic for the orc player. He's been able to go ahead and get lots of healing salves, lots of clarities off. As you can see, just healing up his entire army, which is pretty good. And then again, he's got a nice little base back here with the Raiders being pumped out. Now, the Raiders only is a very bold choice, because when you're doing Raiders only, They're not a great unit for anything, really, if you have a bunch of them, other than kind of sieging a base. And that's what it looks like he's going to go for, but this is not probably going to work with all those swords, just out slowing the DPS, and the fact that he can start repairing the keep, but he might be able to. It's going to be really close, as you can see, but it looks to me like as he's losing more and more units, that he's actually fighting a losing battle, and he's just kind of throwing the game away. He's got a Kodo Beast out, which would have been nice, but I don't know. I don't know if he could have won the game going for just Raiders at the way that the game had went and worked out. Maybe at that point he should have backed off and tried to creep up an expansion, but he definitely just gave the human player the advantage. Although the human player had been fighting really hard for that advantage, and he's definitely done a great job to stay in the game. Bear coming out as another summon just because at level 2, you can't, if you take the bird, then you have a useless summon, but the bear is actually going to combat unit, so that's always good to pick that at level 2 if you're in this situation where you just need as many summons as possible to actually fight, and that's actually going to turn out pretty well for him. That Kodo Beast might go down, it looks like it will, it's got slow, and it will, and there comes out another breaker that was kind of hiding in the Kodo's belly. The Beastmaster right now, he's taking a lot of damage, but he's probably not going to die. Yeah. And this Fire Lord is probably going to go down right now. It looks like this could be the end of the game for the Orc, unless he can pull out something absolutely crazy, which it seems pretty unlikely. And also the Priests now have Dispel, so that's even worse, because pretty much the Orc's army is mainly based on those summons right now. And you can even see that's why he's focusing down on the Priest, because he knows that the Dispel is a serious issue right now, but there's 2 Arcane Sanctums up, and at this point he can pump out quite a few Priests, and there's not a whole lot that he can do about it. And if we look back, he's still making Raiders and Grunts, which is an okay army to have, but as long as he doesn't mass the Grunts, and as long as he doesn't suicide the Raiders, or as long as he doesn't mass the Raiders, really. But he needs to definitely have really a better, probably a higher level heroes than what he has right now. 5/5 would be pretty good against it, against casters. Even then, it's not like really like a thing that you're guaranteed to win, but the Chain Lightning is really important to have, but also the Wolves. But again, the Wolves are becoming less and less valuable just because of the spells that can come out at this point in the game. Beastmaster's taking quite a bit of a beating right now. He's just going to go ahead and run that away. Just micro him. There's not a whole lot of ensnares right now coming out, and those are going to be mostly saved for units because they're much better on units. They just last much longer, and you're much more likely to get a kill if you do that on the unit instead. Whereas you might be able to get a kill on the Beastmaster. At this point, he's got a healing potion. He's going to go ahead and use that as he gets Chain Lightning and ensnared, which is pretty good use of it. And this Orc is just really running out of steam rapidly, as you can see. Yeah, this fight is just kind of going more and more in favor of the human player. Level 6, thoroughly solidly on that Archmage. Definitely has mass teleport, and he's trying to kill the Beastmaster. The Beastmaster picks up another potion of healing. Going to go ahead and use that as well. One more is in stock in the shop, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that get picked up by the Archmage. Yeah, this looks really, really badly for the Orc player. Looks like the Fire Lord's going to go down, and in fact, that might be a good game. Level 4 on the Beastmaster, level 2 Raging Bear. Absolutely fantastic unit right there to have, and this is, like I said, just looking really good for the human player. So he was able to turn the game around and just do a really good job. Solid play, steady play, even though he was losing really bad, I think, at one point. But he just kept up, and the Farseer's gone down, and the good game is called. So, good game. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Hope you enjoyed watching it. That's going to be the last one for me. My eyes are kind of like defocusing, so I can't quite focus on what I'm doing or what I'm watching. So I apologize for that. But a nice little game to end on, and I'll get done on YouTube hopefully sometime tonight, unless I pass out first, and then it would be tomorrow. But thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to the stream. Once again, check out playffa.net. Check out youtube.com/FFA Masters League, I think is their YouTube channel. I'll have a link in the description below. And twitch.tv/FFA Masters League, as well as, of course, twitch.tv/curebe and youtube.com/SuperBT. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Goodbye!